work today on lesson 6 in scientific notation. Always scares me to do this lesson because I think you're all going to clobber me, because you're going to find out that what we've done so far in scientific notation can all be done on your calculator. So you need to have this calculator. This is your school calculator. You can't use a different one for what I'm going to show you today, because every calculator works a little bit differently. I'm going to show you how to do it on this one. If later on you're working on a different calculator, you're going to have to figure out how to do things on that particular calculator. So a couple of hints that go with our calculator. To put an exponent on a number, the first thing that you're going to do, I hope you can see that the glare is not too bad. I can't tell where the glare is at right now. You're going to type a base number. Let's say we have 5 to the 4th power. So you're going to type your base number, and then you're going to hit this button right here, y to the x. I call it the to the button, because then you can make it any power you want. I wanted to make it to the power of 4, so I'm going to come over here and hit the 4. And then when I hit equals, it gives me what 5 to the 4th equals. To make a negative, if you want -5 in here, and you press, this is your positive negative button, and you press -5, it didn't make it a -5 up here. If you can see that. So to make it a -5, you press the 5 first and the negative second. Now I have a -5 up here, if you can see that somehow, some way. All right. The next thing, if we're going to do scientific notation, we need to know scientific notation mode. So let's take and put in our calculator, do this with me, put in your calculator 6 million. So that's 6 followed by 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That says 6 million right there. If I wanted to see what that looks like in scientific notation, I have to hit the green, I think it's green, some people think it's yellow, the green second button, and then look right above the 5. See where it says SCI right above the 5? Right above the 5 says SCI. Okay, that puts your calculator in scientific notation. So when you press that button after you've hit the second, it looks like this. Now, here's the issue with these calculators. That looks like 6 to the 6th power, but we know in scientific notation that the exponent goes on the 10. We'll talk about that again in a minute, but this really says 6 times 10 to the 6th power. We'll talk about that again in just a minute. So let's say I'm in scientific notation, but I want to go back to standard form. If I want to go back to standard form, I'm going to hit that second button, and then I'm going to hit the flow, which is above the 4. So I'm going to flow back into standard form. So I can go scientific notation, standard form, and I can bounce back and forth between those two. All right. The next hint on our paper says numbers like 1.2 times 10 to the 4th can be inputted. I don't know if inputted is really a word, but I made it a word right here. Can be inputted in like this. So these are the buttons you're going to press. So we're going to press the 1, the decimal point, the 2, then EE for exponent on the 10, 4, and then when we hit the equals, I don't know if you need to hit the equals or not, because it might have just, when you did the EE, it might just come up like this. If you hit the equals, it might put it in standard form. I've been messing with my calculator a little bit, so I don't know that for sure, but play with it a little bit. You're going to see this on your display on your calculator, 1.2, and then it looks like it has an exponent of 4. But, super important right here, remember that the exponent is not on the 1.2. Our lazy calculators don't show the 10 that exponent's on. This is 1.2 times 10 to the 4th. If it seems like I'm emphasizing that a ton, it's because in the past, that's where my students have had a lot of problems, a lot of confusion. Make sure the exponent's on the 10. All right, so if you notice, we went from lesson 3 to lesson 6. Lessons 4 and 5 teach you how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide in scientific notation by hand. We're going to jump right to doing that on our calculators. So how do I do operations in scientific notation? So if I have 3.4 times 10 to the third times 1.2 times 10 to the fourth, we can put it into our calculator like this. First, put your calculator in scientific notation mode. To do that, remember, you hit second and you hit the SCI button or the scientific notation button. I want you to see something in your display. Look right here. Do you see this says SCI? That means it was put into scientific notation. When I hit the second flow button, it's out of scientific notation. So I hit second, and then I hit the SCI button, and we're back in scientific notation. And the display looks even a little bit different. All right, so back to this problem. We're going to put in 3.4 EE, hit that EE button, it's right above the 7, right here, right above the 7, 3.4 EE, 3. If you look at your display, that's 3.4 times 10 to the third, which is what this was right here. We're going to multiply that, so times 1.2 EE4, which is going to give us 1.2 times 10 to the fourth. When we hit the equal sign, it multiplied that. It gives you this display, 4.08, and then an exponent of 07. But what does that mean? That really means 4.8 times 10 to the 7th. Now, if you want to get that back into standard form, if you have to know the standard form answer, keeping right there, you hit second flow form, and voila, there's your standard form. Okay, let's try another one. This is a division one. So if we had 9.3 times 10 to the fifth, so EE 5, divided by 3.6 times 10 to the negative 6, so that would be EE negative 6, and when we hit the equals, we get this big giant thing. If we rounded it off, it's going to be 2.58, and we're going to see 11, but what that 11 is, it's really on the 10. Okay, I want you to do these problems really quickly, and I want you to write down the answers in both scientific notation and standard form. Turn the video off and come back to it. All right, in standard form, this would be negative 16,720. And in scientific notation, it would be negative 1.672 times 10 to the fourth. Doing this on the calculator is so much quicker than doing it by hand. Number 4. Oh, I'm probably in the glare of all of that, sorry. Number 4. In standard form, it is 9,239,993,110. Now, because there's not a lot of zeros, this would be a silly number to write in scientific notation, but since the directions told us to do it, we're going to do it anyway. So that would be 9.23999311 times 10 to the 9th. On this one, when we do this multiplication, we get the answer 1.926075. In scientific notation, well wait, this is already here, so why would we times it by 10 to the anything? It would be times 10 to the 0. So this one I'm going to not do in scientific notation. If you did it, it would have been that. I guess I did do it, even after I said I wasn't going to. Remember, fractions are division problems. So in scientific notation, in regular standard form, this would be 1, 2, 2, 2, 8, 2, 6, 0, 8, 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So that is a bunch. In scientific notation, 1.222826.087 times 10 to the 15th. Page 2. On page 2, we have just a few that we're going to practice with at the top. So I'm going to show you a couple of those real quick. So number 1, I'm going to put in my calculator 9.87 negative. When I want the coefficient to be negative, I have to hit the negative sign afterwards. 10 to the 5th. I hope you can see it. I can't tell if you can or not. Times 4. Oh, you know what, you guys? I didn't put my calculator in scientific notation to begin with, so I'm going to change that and put it in scientific notation. All right, let me try again. So that was 9.87 negative 10 to the 5th times 4.45 negative times 10 to the 0, which it's already at 0, equals 4.39215 times 10 to the 6th. Since I want both the answer in scientific notation and in standard form, I'm now going to hit second flow, and it gives me the standard form answer, 4392150. Put your commas in, and you're good to go. Okay? Put it back in scientific notation before you do another one. Hey, let's do this is an addition one. We haven't done an addition one yet. Let's do this one. So we have, let's put it in scientific notation. And then we go ahead and we have 4.18. I hope you can see this. 4, negative 4, plus, now this, can we just do it? This isn't in scientific notation. Yeah, you can do it. 0.123009 equals, it put it in scientific notation for us. 1.318 times 10 to the negative 3. I want to see that in standard form. I hit second flow, and I get 0.001318. Okay, let's do a division one. Now, on this one, number 6, look at this. The top isn't set yet. We have to first do multiplication, and then we can do the division. So, we're going to ignore the bottom, we're going to ignore the denominator, and just look at the numerator for right now. So, I want it to be in scientific notation, and I'm going to put, hope I haven't made too much glare there, 6.12 EE7 times 2.22 EE5 negative equals, so the top is now 1.35864 times 10 to the 3rd. The bottom is still 3.54 times 10 to the 2nd. So we're going to take this number that we just created for our new numerator, and we're going to hit divide, the division sign. So we're dividing by 3.54 times 10 to the 2nd. So we hit EE2, 3.54 EE2 equals, and we get this big old giant number. Look at the exponent. The exponent would be 10 to the 0 power. 10 to the 0 power would just be 1. So on this one, again, I'm not going to write it in scientific notation. So if you end up with 0 as your exponent, you don't have to put it in scientific notation. All right, what you need to do is finish these examples, and then you have 12 problems down here. Please note that you are going to put them in both scientific notation form and standard form. Okay, so every problem is going to have 2 answers. On the next page, we have some story type problems. Think about what operation you would have to do each of these problems. I want you to finish these up. Look at what it says. This answer's scientific. This answer's scientific notation. This answer's scientific notation. However, the last answer you're going to put in standard notation or standard form. Okay, guys, email me with questions or zoom in.